All right, cool. We'll start there. So again, just a voice AMA, very quick intro if you don't mind, because we would like to have this recorded. My name is Neil, founder CEO of ProtocolX. I have up with me Brandon, who's one of my team members on the main team. He's also my community manager, and we'll kind of continue through answering the questions there. I'll probably just do a record and answer the previous questions that were out there. But yeah, we've been working on this project for roughly 3 months in the building and development phase, analyzing everything that's going to go into it, and then really started the actual developmental phase between 6 and 7 weeks ago to where we are now. So it's been a longer process than the actual development phase because obviously you have to coordinate all these different things on different avenues and different approaches there. So overall 6 or 7 weeks of development, like coding side of it, and about 3 months of overall analyzing and developing it from there.
How many people are working in your team? Is it just you and your colleague, or it's a numerous team with multiple people?
So I don't know where Brandon is. I don't want him to jump in and not feel welcome there. So we do have a pretty large team right now. We have 7 core team members. We have myself. We have Brandon. We have a couple advisors by the name of Adam and Jared. I have a security analyst who's by the name of Jameson. And I have a graphics designer by the name of Steven. And then we have an administration and a kind of Discord bot manager, CK. So we have a 7-person team. We are all fully doxed. I'm KYC'd through Assure, and the rest of the team is fully doxed, and myself included.
Perfect, perfect. So what makes ProtocolX special compared to the similar projects? Why should we pay the users pay more attention to ProtocolX and maybe invest in through ProtocolX?
Brandon, do you want to go into this one a little bit?
Yeah, sorry about that. Just to introduce myself, my name is Brandon. I'm the CM of Protocol X. As you may know, we were typing before, now we're in the voice chat. Sorry, I've just been having back and forth with some members at the Satoshi Club, just to clarify a few things. But yeah, so there's many differences to why we're a generic rebase token with a sense, but also not. So our main focus at ProtocolX is to have sustainability. Now we have that through multiple methods. One of the methods is an SEM model. So our rebase amount APR every single month decreases 10%. Now this is one of the first times I've seen it in a rebase project. Instead of having, hey, we're going to have 700,000% APR, we're back down to a modest 60 plus thousand percent, which then is easier to control further down the line. You don't have that problem of the rates going through the roof and too many tokens being produced. We also have things that we're introducing. So our website is fully web free. We're going to have the D app, we're going to have the DEX launching. However, from the start, the DEX is going to be more of a secondary value. The DEX will have more value over time once we build up our partnerships and build up. There'll be more in that in the future. So, in regards to our project, we have the rebase distribution method, which is the 1.77% a day. That is compounded every 30 minutes. So every 30 minutes, you'll automatically receive PTX tokens in your wallet, and that will continue. So every single month, on the first of every single month, automatically the APR will go down 10%. So on the first month, it will be 1.77%, and the second month, 1.59%. Now, the reason why we're doing that is A, to stop the inflation, and B, to incentivize holders. So if you're in very, very early, so to say, so you get in from launch, you're going to then have more APY for the remainder of the year. However, if you get in late, you still have a good amount of daily interest. Now, that's brilliant, and that's exactly what we want. However, we're not going to have that problem of having to go, hey, we're 4 months in, we might have to cut the rebases off now because we can't keep up with it anymore. So another thing that we're going to do to help that is the LMS system. Now that's a liquidity management system. We're also looking into auto treasury systems, which will essentially, the LMS will keep the floor rising, so you won't have that falling knife effect. And the other one, the treasury system. So now, sometimes when you're in a project, you're about 3, 4 months in. The development team will go, hey, we need to sell $500,000 to pay for this. Now, we're not going to have that. What we're going to have at PTX later on, not initially, but it will come in, there will be an announcement about it. The treasury will automatically sell a tiny, tiny portion every time there is a larger buy. So if we go from, say, $5,000, $10,000 upwards, then a tiny percent of that specific buy, so if it was $10,000, 1% or 2% of that will instantly sell from the treasury. So not only does that help our liquidity management system, that also then funds the project, any marketing, anything along them lines, without having to dump the treasury. Another method that we're going to be using to fund the treasury is one of our major partnerships with Ego. If you don't know who Ego are, they specialize in trading bots, algorithm trading bots, who last month averaged a return of around 32% on the month, which is insane. And so PTX will be having a large stake in that. Not only are we going to have a large stake in that, we'll be using that to fund the buybacks and burns, use that to fund any team expenses. So what we're really looking to do is find as many revenue sources outside of ProtocolX to fund the inside of ProtocolX.
That sounds
Thank you
really
very much,
impressive.
Brandon. Anthony. Yeah, so just like we announced in the chat during the beginning of the AME, the AME is structured in three parts. The first part, which will be an introduction, and then we have some questions selected from our community members that we would like you to answer. And then the second part will be where our community will be able to ask their questions live in the chat. So I think we are ready to move straight away to the community questions that we've already selected. And my colleague will read out the questions and also post them in the group chat as well while he reads them to you. And then you'll be given the opportunity to provide your answers. So if
No
it's
worries.
clear to you, I think we can go ahead and start.
Yes, thank you, Jonah. So, as Jonah said, I'm going to drop each question in the AMA chat group. And once you answer each of them, you're also invited to share with us any links, I don't know, to the events that you expect to be like a launch, maybe some details for our community to follow, to be able to access like a website link, I don't know, the Discord group, Telegram group, everything. Okay, so yes. Let us start with the first one. So I learned that ProtocolX is here to change the game by implementing an ever-developing, expanding, and growing ecosystem that all fits into each other. So, and some of the features you're offering includes XS Swap, X Share, ProtocolX Buyback, automatic liquidity router, and much more. I would be glad enough if you could help us in giving elaborative information for these features you have in place for your platform. What could it be their utilities and use case in your ecosystem? Given the fact that these projects seem new to most of us, I would like to know how your platform is designed to create real benefits for its users out here. And please kindly state the mission behind your project. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think I'll go into this one first here. So obviously there's a lot that goes into what we've built up here, and the white paper is where I'd recommend most people kind of start getting a good general idea of what we're building here. So generally speaking, most of these rebase protocols, of course, they are designed to be inflationary, right? So over time, the token price goes down because there's just more tokens minted, and then of course you have more tokens. So that's the theory that people are generally operate off rebase tokens. We're trying to kind of take that away a little bit by offsetting the emissions rate via outside revenue sources conducting buybacks and burns. Ideally within this 12-month period of time, and before that, we're going to be at a point where outside revenue source buybacks and burns are a net surplus compared to the mints. And by doing this, combined with our liquidity management system, that's a custom contract that we're developing, we can actually design a protocol here that is a true passive income play on DeFi, and not one of those just in verbiage where it's like, here's a good passive income play, but your token price just goes down indefinitely. We're trying to make it an appreciating asset. And with the liquidity management system, the LMS, we're designing it to be a rising floor theory. So over time, it'll put pressure on the bottom half so that the floor price goes up and up and up and up over time. That'll help prevent it going down from 99.9%, which we've seen in some other protocols out there. So we have that right there where we're creating basically a passive income off of this rebase protocol in general. Then we're also introducing NFTs that are a revenue share system based directly off of this ecosystem that you mentioned there. So this revenue share system is very, very important. Right from day one, there's going to be 2% of the buy tax and 2% of the sales tax put off into this other wallet. So once we introduce these NFTs, all of this 2% buy and 2% sale tax that goes into that wallet is going to be distributed to those who own the NFTs as a direct revenue share from the revenue that's coming into the company. So if there's 10,000 sold, for example, and there's 10,000 NFTs out there, this revenue will be distributed to those who own the NFTs. This will be on a bi-weekly basis, maybe weekly. I'm still kind of debating that, but more likely a bi-weekly basis. And those funds will come from everywhere from that buy and sales tax, and then it'll expand out into the ecosystem as we develop a little bit further. So ideally, we're going to have multiple real legitimate passive income that actually brings money back to the investors and not just a spiral out of control. I hope to get a return on investment because my token price is so far down. So we're trying to change the system to actually be beneficial to those who invest with us, remove some of the greed aspects, remove some of the malicious actors that are in the space via different aspects that we're going to introduce to become partners with our DEX. You have to qualify by doing certain things here, more to be announced on that front here shortly. So we're trying to create an environment that's actually willing to go out of its way to, maybe remove some of the initial upfront money that we'd make in order to maintain and develop a much better business philosophy over time.
All right, thank you. I would like to ask, by the way, looking at some of the features you've already talked about, can you give us a walkthrough of your roadmap, how you plan to, roll out these features one at a time, and currently at what stage are you in ensuring the product is, fully ready?
Yeah, so I'll answer that. So technically, we're currently in the initial stage. So we're prior to launch. So the pre-sale is on the 10th, which is in 2 days' time at 5 p.m. UTC. Now that pre-sale is there. There will be a $15,000 dollar max wallet. There won't be much of a minimum wallet. The minimum wallet is 0.01 BNB. That is technically the lowest we're able to do without there being too much issue. If you have a little look on our website and you scroll down, you can also see the roadmap on our website. So what we call Q3 is we call Q3 the build phase. Now I'll go through our roadmap really, really quickly. I won't go too in depth on it, but what I'll do is go through the roadmap quickly, drop a roadmap in the chat. I know we have some graphics of the roadmap and go from there. So Q3 2022. So that is the from now until 3 months time. We've got the initial build phase. We have the develop and implement. We have the PTX contract, which is what is having the pre-sale on Wednesday. Sorry. We've got the DApp and dashboard. We've got the DEX swap, which we launch in. That will be X swap. We'll have the official white paper, which is already launched. We'll have develop and launch the website interface, which launched today. We have the PR marketing, which is coming very, very soon. Airdrop to XSwap holders. That is a previous airdrop that was agreed to Bigfoot holders, which we're looking forward to. More information will come on that soon. And then obviously we have the generic things such as listing on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. I'll post a picture of the full roadmap in the Discord, in the AMA chat, so you can have a little look at that. We have quite an extensive roadmap. One of our main goals on our roadmap is obviously we have the long-term one, which is the blockchain. And then we also have integration of an NFT marketplace, one of which we already have in development. That one was a long-term process that's already been in development for about 6 weeks. And then we have the additional farms of staking on the ProtocolX, the app as well. We also have our business model. Now, our business model is quote-unquote top secret. It's not as such. We just don't go into it in way too much detail, purely because our business model has something to do with DSS. That's the only thing I can really say about it, because we're currently looking to get our actual business plan and business model in front of VCs and blockchains to discuss with them what we can do in regards to that. And obviously, with crypto being such a large world, if I was to explain every feature, every aspect, it'd be easy for somebody to, eat that up. But you can find our roadmap in our white paper. You can also find our roadmap on the website. But I've just dropped that in AMA chat now, so you can have a little look. The roadmap is quite extensive. We are optimistic, but we believe we can achieve all of them. So we don't have any problems with that. But our initial stage at the minute is the build phase, of course. We're pre-launch and it's full systems go after the launch.
Thank you very much for sharing the roadmap. I must say that your roadmap is stacked with quite a lot of interesting features and events to look forward to, and I'm sure the community is quite excited to see most of these things come to life. So at this moment, I think we can proceed to the next question if you're ready.
Of course, go ahead.
Thank you. So let's see the question number 2. Looking at the tokenomics, you stated that ProtocolX will begin with 50 million initial token supply. In addition to this, you mentioned that PDX will have a variable supply, meaning it will continue to increase with a rebased token model. There is no max supply built in at launch. So in this regard, elaborate please on the rebase token model. How does the rebase token model work? Since PDX doesn't have a fixed supply, what mechanisms are you employing to fight potential inflation of the tokens? Will there be seasonal burns of PDX? On what utilities is the token based?
Hey, that's another great question there. So I'll take this one to give Brown just a little bit of a break. But yes, by our tokenomics, the pre-sale max allocation is going to be 50 million initial tokens that are going to be in circulating supply. So I kind of talked about this just a little bit before, but I'll definitely go more into detail right now because it makes sense and it's what people need to hear. So with that variable supply mechanism with rebase tokens, we're not setting a max supply. The rebases themselves are the ones that'll continue to increase the supply over time. And that is generally one of the big issues with rebase protocols because, 1 year from now, the supply is just ridiculous. It's wild. So what we've elected to do here is not only do we have a buyback and burns from our taxes that are associated with the actual token, but we have other revenue sources from outside of ProtocolX that we're using directly to facilitate buybacks and burns from day one. And we've seen, I'll kind of go into this a little bit too, we've seen some protocols say, hey, we're just going to do these burns, but they're not buybacks and burns. They're just burning them from some pool of supply somewhere, which is great. It removes them from being able to be sold, but it does not impact the token price because there's no buy associated with that token at the time. So with us, we're using the Ego Trade Bot primarily from that day one. Literally a part of the pre-sale will be going into that. So every 2 weeks, I get my profits from that Ego bot, it goes into a fund. So that'll allow us to conduct these strategic burns. They're going to be at least weekly, not at the same time every week, so I do not want them to be predictable, but at least once per week, there will be legitimate buyback and burn mechanisms put into place every week so that we have this going on and we have that base of buybacks and burns to help fight the inflationary aspects over time. By combining all of that with the liquidity management system with a custom contract, as well as other aspects like that decreasing APR over time, at that 12-month mark when the daily APR is 0.5% per day, we expect to be in a full surplus mode for which we are buybacks and burns are able to meet or exceed the amount of tokens that are being minted per day. That's the goal. That's the whole kind of purpose behind this system and getting so highly into the buyback and burn mechanics this early is so that we can create a system where we control the supply effectively. If we want to burn more 1 month, we can. If we wanted to kind of dilute just a little bit for whatever reason, we'd have the ability to do so. But if we waited 3 to 4 months to start this, it would likely be impossible to catch up. So we start on day one to give us the best chance possible to hit our strategic goals over time, ideally before that 12-month mark, but at the worst case, our plans have it at the 12 months.
Thank you. By the way, this might not be the first rebase model that our community will be coming across. I would like to hear, in your own opinion, what makes you think that your rebase model is quite unique and different from others?
I'll take this one. Give Neil a break. So the reason why I think our rebase model is completely different to any other rebase model is because of multiple reasons. One, we are one of the first rebase models to ever use algo trading bots outside of the rebase model to generate income. Now that's one thing we're very, very proud of. We've touched base on that a few times. Not only are we one of the only people to do that, we're also one of the only people to have a set halvening each month. Now, halvening in a term doesn't mean halving. It just means a decrease in percent every single month. Now, we were one of the first projects that actually introduced that and have that set every single month before the launch to say, hey, this is what we're going to do to fight, inflation and there being too much tokens in the circulation, because we've seen it a lot, and I'm not going to drop names because we love everyone in this community. We want to work with everyone in DeFi, but you've seen some popular rebase tokens go, "Hey, we're in about month 6 now. We need to turn these. We need to turn these rebases off." But not us. So what we do is in about month 4 or 5 in a project, you see that it gets a bit too much. The tokens now are about like 18 times the initial supply. The chart looks awful. But around month 4 or 5, we're not going to be in that much pressure because, okay, there'll still be inflation, don't get me wrong, but it gives us enough time to introduce, the outside revenue sources, what we're saying. That's what makes us so different. Now, not only do we have them revenue sources, but with liquidity management system, we also have our own team. It will be an announcement soon, and it will be a lot more clearer. But who are actively going to be working on additional contracts and different additional proxies to add to the contract, so we can have seamless migrations. Now, the reason for this is because we want our contract to be everlasting. If you're investing in a token, you need to invest into the team. Now, what we're doing here is future proofing it. We don't want to go, hey, 4 months time, we need to launch a new contract. Everyone needs to put their tokens here. We need to go over to the new contract, because doing that just causes, a lot of headache, a lot of drama. What we're doing is going, hey, we have a rebase model that we're going to introduce NFTs. We're going to introduce a key system, and we're also going to introduce a way that we can use them NFTs. Now, I'm going to drop a teaser of one of our NFTs. I've dropped it before, but our NFT system is what we call X shares. Now, X shares is the revenue share model. Put this in a sense that one of these models are not hand drawn, these are all AI generated. Now, we'll be one of the first rebase projects that will have utility based on an AI generated graphic. Now, this AI generated graphic will be what we call an X share. This X share will not only give you part of a revenue source within the whole project. So if you had a look at our tokenomics, 2% of every buy and every sell goes straight to X shares. Now, the best thing about X shares is that it's not stopping at that. Now, X shares will have multiple tiers. Not only will it have multiple tiers, but it gives us there's a reason why they're doors. Now, having the door just opens you up to a lot of opportunities. Now, here's another example of a mid-tier NFT. So what you're kind of getting from this is that these are upgradable. Now, in the future, you'll be able to use your PTX, which is the rebase token, or part of, to go, hey, I want to use this to upgrade my revenue share. I want to use this to upgrade my stake in the actual cash earnings. Now, we're one of the first rebase, if not the first rebase protocol, to introduce a revenue share model without it being node based. Now, this is all prior to a blockchain coming out. What we want is every percent of a transaction, the holders earn more. So if you're a proud owner of a X share and you don't want to upgrade it, you just hold it, over time, you'll see parts of, income coming into your wallet just based off that. Not only will you have your PTX earning capabilities from the daily rebases, which is automatic, you also have XSwap, where you'll be able to stake and farm and earn. And not only will you have that, you also have the keys and the NFTs. Now, what we've done here is build an ecosystem that works off each other. Instead of going, hey, here's a fork of a contract, let's just launch it. Here's the rebases. This is what we're going to do at the end of the year. We've gone, no. What can we implement during? How can we keep people engaged? How can we make sure that people aren't just dumping their rebases? And how can we make people go through, hey, do I want to sell my rebases or do I want to upgrade my NFT? Do I want to buy an X key? Do I want to, it opens possibility for people. Not only will we have that to add on to the surplus of burn events, we'll also have things like lottery systems, gaming systems, and that leads me off from these. With them being doors, it opens up possibility of possible gamification. What's behind the door? I guess we'll find out at a later date.
Right. Thank you, Brandon, for clarifying, the unique points of your revenue, your base model. And for me, I think one of the most interesting points you talked about is the revenue sharing model. And we'll still revisit the X-share topic in an upcoming question. So I think right now we're ready to move to the next question, if you are.
Sure. Let's see the question number 3. So, in a couple of days, you're planning to pre-sale the native protocol token. Since it is planned to sell exclusively for BNB, it means that you initially deploy your protocol on the BSC network. So are you planning to add other networks in the future? Which network will be the second one to add? In the fourth quarter, according to your roadmap, you plan to develop your own blockchain. So will it be on L1 or L2 blockchain solution based on an already existing network?
Yes, that's another great question there. So, as far as the fourth quarter and beyond part of the roadmap and the development of that blockchain, I don't want to go too much into all of that just yet because obviously we have a few steps to take before that all happens there. Plenty of information will come out on all of that over time. As we all know, that's a big process and takes a lot of money, time, and effort to get conducted there. So I don't want to put a hard timeline on any of that or give out any of the information before it starts actually going into development. As far as the first part, yes, we are launching on BSC. So we're pairing with BNB on there as well. And we do intend on expanding our DEX and the ecosystem to other blockchains in the future. That being said, same thing that I just kind of mentioned with the developing our own blockchain, we have to take this piece by piece. So we need some success here on BSC. We need to have our focus put into this one area here, this one niche, not only bring this live but also succeed on this platform in this one element. Once we have a good amount of success in this one element, I will very much like to expand it to other primarily DeFi platforms. And as we know, that can change so quickly. If we would have talked about this a year ago, people might have been talking about the Terra Luna blockchain, for example, right? Not anymore. So things that I like in my mind are platforms like Avalanche, are platforms like obviously Polygon and Sol both have their advantages. You have Phantom, you have One Harmony, you have all these different ones that are out there that we can then consider to grow into our next aspects and development period of our protocol here. So we'll start on BSC, we'll expand out. I'm not going to lock myself into saying, hey, we're going to go into this protocol and this blockchain no matter what, because what if that, what if that just simply is not the most practical aspect of that part of the development there. But we will expand over time. BSC is a great launching point for us. It allows us to kind of really thrive in this rebase protocol era, and then we will expand expansively from there.
Your approach of taking it step by step is very impressive. So I think this question is quite clear. Hopefully we can proceed to question number 4.
Yes, thank you, Jana. So we're in the middle of the first part. Feel free for questions to come. Let's see the number 4. I read that owning the ProtocolX NFT gives holders direct access to being shareholder to the company's revenue. So can you share more details about the benefits of being a shareholder of ProtocolX ecosystem? Will this benefit include governance powers and voting rights? Also, I noticed that Xshare has 3 NFT doors, which are the Dungeon Door, Castle Door, and Egyptian Door, so which can be upgraded using keys. Can you tell us more about the features of these NFT door levels? What are the features of the X keys, and how can it be obtained?
Yeah, so I'll touch base on this quickly, and then I'll let Neil lead off of it. So yes, technically owning the X share does give you rights as a shareholder to the company. Not in a sense of direct benefit from the start, but what it will do is you will have benefits such as revenue share. So initially, when you purchase a X share, which will be one of the NFTs you spoke about before, there will be a portion of funding from each angle. Now we could talk about a percentage of the transaction fees, which is already in place, and then we have a talk about external revenues from bots, from the decks, from everything. A portion of everything will go back to the NFT holders. We are looking into some sort of governance and voting rights, but that will come at a later date. What we need first is obviously one, for the X shares to reach a point where there's enough body to have governance, if you know what I mean. So if there's only a few people that purchase it, it wouldn't be fair to the rest of the holders to say, hey, this person's only, this person's got so much voting right, it's whatever their way goes. So it all comes to what can we do? How can we get everything out fairly? Now, the X shares will launch very, very soon, and there will be updates regarding that after ProtocolX goes live. So keep an eye out in our Discord for that. And as for the doors and the upgrading system, we have changed that a little bit recently, in the last couple of days or so. But the way it will work essentially is you'll have base tiers, you'll have mid tiers, and you'll have high tiers, and each of which will have different features. We'll have a full documentation coming out on what the features are. However, as a standard, they will have a percentage of revenue per NFT. So the higher the rank, then obviously, the higher percentage. So the way you'll be able to get them is by purchasing them. But the higher ones, what you'll have to do for like a higher level one, you'll have to sort of sacrifice quote unquote keys to unlock chests or unlock the door. And if you do manage to unlock the door, then the door is upgraded. Now, this is obviously a way we can stimulate burn of PTX, because it will be PTX, the native currency, which is used to get keys. And there's obviously a fun way for people to use their rebases and essentially upgrade their stake in the model itself, without having to, use additional dollars as such. And obviously, it is another one thing that is going towards the burn mechanism. I don't know if Neil wants to touch more on that.
Yeah, I think you covered just about everything. So there's a lot that's going to go on with this NFT aspect. It's going to be fun. It's going to be engaging, but it's also going to be an actual passive income kind of strategy that we're laying out there for people. So I very much so look forward to getting that live. They're not going to be ridiculously high priced to mint. So don't. I know some people will sell these things and they're like $10,000 or something crazy. I'm thinking somewhere between 0.5 and 1 BNB, to be determined and to be announced at a later date when we get that formalized. But that's going to be roughly the area that they're going to cost to mint, and that gives you that revenue share access that'll be literally accumulating from the 15th. Even if these NFTs don't come out for another 4 weeks, there'll already be a pool of money in there to go out to those holders on the moment that they go live.
Thank you. By the way, the X share is said to have just 3 NFT doors. Will these always be limited to just these 3 doors, or will there be room to add more doors? And I also see the name of the doors being Dungeon, Castle, and Egyptian. So are there any specific reasons, why those names were decided for the doors?
Yeah, so the names are an early adaptation, and they can obviously be adjusted and changed over time. The idea of the NFT is that I wanted to have that template out there for this to grow and kind of prosper a bit. But as we navigate, we will change ourselves if it makes the most sense for what we've designed. So obviously, with the 2 photos that Bram posted in there, that second one wouldn't necessarily fit into those exact aspects. Maybe you could force it into the castle door, but it's more so just a filler name as we develop and kind of get this fully laid out and designed as we move forward from there.
Right, thank you for clarifying. I think we can proceed to the next question now.
Thank you. Let's see question number 5. So can you elaborate more on the dual token mode? I saw you will be introducing a reward token called XPTX in addition to the platform token PTX. So do we receive all the reward types such as staking rewards and liquidity rewards for the XPTX? What are the utilities of XPTX. Please also explain the benefits of holding XPTX for longer time periods. Can we exchange one XPTX to PTX token or a stable coin like USDT or BUSD? What are the factors that determine the value of XPTX? Is one XPTX equal to one PTX? And multiple questions here. And generally, projects create a separate reward token to ensure that the value of a platform token. So in addition to this common purpose, are there any intentions of introducing the second token, XPTX?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different questions here, so I'll try to go through them a little bit one by one. So this first one, can you elaborate more on the dual token model? So we're going to have the PTX token, which is the rebase token. That's what we've been primarily talking about here. Then we're also going to have a token that's called XSwap. That's going to be the native token to the DEX, the decentralized exchange that we have developed, fully functional, fully capable DEX on our brand and our platform. So there's a few different ways to kind of go through all this here. So in addition to the platform token, PTX, do we receive rewards type? Okay, so there will be different staking pools, different farms, different aspects that you can utilize on that DEX that'll be with the XSwap token, and also some with that PTX token. One very simple thing that we've talked about here is just we'd have to have a developed wrapped PTX token, but if you did a WPTX stake, for example, you can stake WPTX and earn XSwap. That's something that's very easy to implement into the protocol, and that's one of the plans to do from there. So that'll create a little bit of utility for that PTX token beyond the rebase protocol, beyond the upgrading, beyond the lottery, beyond the exchange for the keys. There are several already utilities put out there for that PTX token already. That'll be live very quickly or on day one. So this will just add another element to it where it's reacting and engaging with the actual XSwap exchange as well. So the benefits of holding PTX for a longer period of time are really quite simple. It's a rebasing token. So it's as you hold that token and it rebases every 30 minutes, you get more and more tokens over time, and that is obviously a benefit to you if you wish and believe that the token price is going to be more valuable in the future compared to the new mints that are created. By us incorporating that liquidity management service to create a rising floor theory, as well as having these buybacks and burn strategies that we've talked about previously, we are doing everything in our power to incentivize this token price to go up over time, or at least stay stable rather than going down massively, which many of the rebase protocols do. So you can exchange for other currencies. So this next part of the question is, can we exchange PTX? I'm not sure what XPTX is. I'm not sure I think you're talking about XSwap. So you might be a little bit confused with the verbiage of the token name. I think what you're referring to is XSwap, not XPTX.
Yeah, I was going to say that. The only other sort of PTX token there is, so there is three, just to clarify, there will be XSwap, which will be the native token. There will be PTX, and in the future, there will be wrapped PTX. What wrapped PTX is, if that's causing any confusion, is simply a model where you can wrap a token. Because it's a rebase token, what you have to do is then use a different format so it still gains quote-unquote rebases, but can also be staked as well. So that I don't know what XPTX is. There won't be an XPTX. When you swap XPTX for PTX, you will be able to swap XSwap for PTX, and you will be able to swap the wrapped PTX for PTX. And yes, you'd also be able to sell it for USDT and BUSD. That all depends on what liquidity the platform has. Now, initially, we're looking to launch on one of two DEXs. I can't say the names. However, we're still deciding between the two for reasons. And it all depends. The main trading pair for both tokens, XSwap and PTX, will be BNB. Core token and the platform token, yeah, exactly. So, in addition, what are the intentions of introducing XPTX? Once again, I'm going to assume you mean XSwap. So the reasons for XSwap is one of two things. So one, it's a rewards token for the DEX, and two, it's a zero tax token, which is native to the DEX. So over time, when we want to grow our DEX and our token, us to have, staking partners, farming partners, and mutual beneficial partners, we will have to have that token for farming rewards. Now, PTX itself is already a rewards token, so introducing an alternative which can benefit the ecosystem as well is also there. But having the main reason for XSwap is obviously because the DEX is called XSwap. So that is the native token for the DEX.
Thank you, Brandon and Neil. I think right now
Yes,
we
sorry,
just
one
have
more question. My apologies. The value
right.
of XSwap and PTX will be completely different, and they won't be correlated in price. There will be two separate tokens. Sorry, I just saw one more question there. My apologies.
Thank you for clarifying, um, especially with the fact that I mean it's not XPTX, rather it's XSwap. I think it's very
No worries.
important that the community knows that as well. I think right now we're just left with one question for this part before we move to the second part of the EMA. So Pavel, you can shoot the last question.
Yes. So let's proceed to the last question of part one. Um, it's great and exciting to see ProtocolX has treasury which will be invested in projects. So how is the fund for this treasury generated? Who decides and how is the decision process reached on projects to invest in? How would the profit generated be utilized, and which strategy of risk management and returns is implemented for this treasury investment? Apart from investment, what else can the funds of this treasury be used for?
Yeah, so I'll go into a bit here. So that is one thing that I do want to kind of drive home here is that another one of the issues that we're looking to solve in DeFi is that there are so many projects out there that have a nice, large, healthy treasury, but it just sits there stagnant. We don't know what they're using it for. They claim that maybe they'll be doing this in the future, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I hate seeing that. So what I want is our treasury to be used as a treasury. It's used to generate revenue and it's used to fund future builds. That's a primary aspect of what this treasury is. It's basically a business bank account, right? So this treasury will be invested in several various streams of revenue, including that EgoBot, including some other partners that either have been announced or have not been announced. A portion of that will be going to purchase and partner with the MDB community as well with their token. So it'll be kind of utilized in various aspects that are going to be used to directly support a revenue stream for our protocol itself. This also allows us to do a few other things with the treasury. So obviously we want to have some funds in that treasury over time. This will be primarily used to build. So we need to build those various things from the roadmap that were listed a little bit before. By having a lot of this money early on into these other revenue developing models and these revenue generating systems like that Ego trading bot, it gives us more money to work with in the future. So, just this is a big number, but let's say we had 500,000 in this Ego trading bot last month and it returned us 33%, which it did in the last 30 days. That would have given us another $165,000 in revenue next month that we would not have had this month if we were not invested into another revenue generating product and company. So that's the basis of this here is we want to use our treasury strategically and proactively in order to generate revenue for the business and facilitate the growth of the protocol in the near future and in the long term.
Yeah, I think that's quite clear. It's very important by the way, that enough money to be able to, ensure that all the roadmap and everything that's there to actualize them. Thank you very much. And this brings us to the end of the first part of our AMA. So for the second part of the AMA, our community members will ask their questions live in the AMA chat. The chat will be unlocked for about 60 seconds and then we'll allow them to send their questions. And then you scroll through and select 10 out of the questions that they will be sending in and provide your answers. So I'll go ahead and unlock the AMA chat now so that the committee members can send in their questions.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, we're super excited. Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. Wow, that's a lot of questions.
And the storm has started.
Storm has begun.
Yeah.
So,
Just
Shib, should we do this? You pick one, then I'll pick one. You pick one, I'll pick one, as such.
Yeah, that sounds like a good strategy here. Good for you guys.
yeah, just take your
Yeah, I
time.
think
It's not a
yes,
rush,
and
and please let the storm finish after just as we said, like 2 minutes. We'll
yes.
close the chat
So
again, and you'll be able to select the best questions.
So just to fill the air here, there is some great questions coming out. So keep it coming, guys. Let them do their window of opportunity
I'm
here.
honestly amused. I'm honestly shocked. There is a lot of good questions coming in.
Yeah, I have my eye on one or two already. So let's see if you try to pick the same one. I'm gonna go first. So.
You go first. That's fine.
If
I
you wish,
think
guys,
so
we can just keep some of the questions for tomorrow, Amma, for Telegram.
all right. So I think the storm is over. So you can go ahead and start selecting. Pick any of your choice.
All right, so I'll go first here. I'm going to take this one from Zain Mughal. This question reads, which one of these aspects is the most important for Protocol X? I kind of reworded that there just to put it more into a readable kind of line there. But the options are increasing token price and value, empowering platform development, building community trust, and expanding partnership globally. And in what order would we place them? So I love this kind of question because it actually involves a good amount of critical thinking. So the easy answer is all of them, right? So as a business, you have to take into consideration each and every single one of these elements that you laid out here and say, hey, these are what we need to focus on in different aspects in order to facilitate growth in each one of those categories. So I think I could break this down though in an interesting way. So very early on in this pre-sale phase, I'd say the last three, building that community trust, expanding the platform, expanding partnerships globally, and empowering the platform development, those are very, very important in the early phases of our development here going into the pre-sale, particularly the community and partnerships. That is ideal, and that is literally necessary for us to have a successful launch. Once we get through that launch, we've already designed this to be strategically positioned to help us increase that token price and value, not just immediately, but over time. So that becomes very, very important at that point. Empowering the platform development is continuous. We need to keep growing because stagnant and a protocol is no good for the protocol. So we have to keep developing and growing all the time. So the easiest way I could say this is increasing token price and value, empowering platform development, building community trust, and expanding the partnership globally are all very, very, very important aspects that all need to be addressed directly and focused on accordingly. So that is a fantastic question there. Thank you for that one.
Right, 9 more questions to go.
Brilliant. Yeah, sorry, my page just reset. I've got one here from. Sorry, there's so many I can't find it again. Bear with me. Okay, I've got one here from Hades. We've got what's the difference between Xshare and X keys? So Xshare itself will be the actual revenue model. So that's that is the NFT that you'll purchase. That is what you'll earn, and X keys is the item used to upgrade the X shares. So the different tiers of X shares, the only way to upgrade it will be able to be by using the keys, which can only be purchased by PTX to upgrade it. So that is the difference there.
Right, so 8 more questions. Neil?
Yep, so let me kind of just browse through here and try to find another good one. I'm trying to make sure I hit every single one that I would like to. Okay, this is a good one here that I'd like to clarify for James Leakin 664. Your SEM models say there'll be a 10% decrease in APR every 30 days. I was wondering, is there a point that the APR goes to zero, or will the SEM model cease at some point? So with this one here, there is a 12-month decreasing effect of that SEM model. So every single month, it's going to decrease by 10% of where it was the month before, up until that 12th month, for which it'll be at 0.5% APR, and that is where it'll stay. There will be no more decreasing from there. This is how the designed SEM model works, is at that 12-month mark is when it'll stop decreasing, and it'll be a 0.5% daily APR for those returns.
Three answered and 7 more to go.
Yeah, brilliant. I'll answer one now. Just having a look through. So I've got one here from Stephanie. I really like this one. What's the assurance in investing in ProtocolX's treasury and various DeFi's? Will it advance the growth of ProtocolX projects? And what do you have in place to counteract the risk to involve another achieving this goal? So, one thing that we have, it's going to be an announcement today. That's a bit of alpha. I can't say it until it's mutually announced. However, one of our future partners specializes in security. And I can't say what, but that is it for now. So, when we're investing in other protocols, not only do we have to see, obviously, the team, know the team personally, have spoken to the team, have some sort of working relationship with them, or sort of along the lines of we know they're trustworthy. Now, there'll be multiple ways to do that, whether it'll be through our own personal vetting service or it'll be through someone else's vetting service. But any investment we make will be based on risk. Now, we have low, medium, and high. Even for partners like Ego, we'd still put them at a medium risk because you can always lose your money. And at the end of the day, an investment is a risk. But what we're going to do is use our best combined due diligence to say, hey, investing a portion of the treasury into this, that, or that will work for us. Now, Neil touched on it before. A lot of projects have a treasury and it's just sitting there. Now, what good is the treasury just sitting there depreciating or slowly being used when we can use it to work for us? Now, another thing like that is our partnership with Ego. Now, if we put, an example, $100,000 into Ego, last month Ego averaged a return of 32% in the month. That's an extra $32,000 the protocol never had. Whereas if that $100,000 sat in the treasury, then that money just basically depreciated. Whereas our investment got us an extra $32,000. Now, obviously, there's a risk. We won't invest anything that will affect the long-term goals. Now, we wouldn't over invest either, so there's always a risk, and we always work on percentages. That's one thing Neil has always been doing. So it doesn't matter how much money we have, it's always on a percent basis. So if we had $1 million, for example, and we said 3%, it would always stay at 3%, no matter how much money we had. We wouldn't just put extra in. So we do stick between strict guidelines. So we are managing the risk, but we wouldn't ever go out of our way to overinvest on sort of a hope for the best scenario. There'd always be calculated risk to it.
Thank you, Brandon. 4 questions answered, 6 more.
All right, so this next one I'm going to pick from, and I don't know how to pronounce your name. I do apologize. ENEIRAFIDANZA. So this question reads, I heard the pre-sale is for Wednesday. How can I participate in this launch and purchase PTX? Can everyone enter the pre-sale on Wednesday, or how do I get a place on the whitelist and be able to buy? If so, do you have any plans to give away the whitelist in those remaining 2 days to members of your community? So, good news. This is a fair launch pre-sale. So that means everybody here, everybody in the entire world can participate in this pre-sale up until a certain point. So the pre-sale will open up live Wednesday the 10th at 1700 UTC. This will be done through a smart contract on our website. So we posted the link there. It'll be ProtocolX with a hyphen between protocol and x.io. There'll be a place to participate in the pre-sale from there. You'll have to purchase with BNB, so keep that in mind as well. So it's a free it's a fair launch, so there's no whitelist. Everyone's able to participate. There is a 20 million max allocation of tokens total. So once we hit that 20 million allocation mark, then the pre-sale ceases. And all that means is, if there's between the 0 and 20 million point, which is approximately $1.2 million, that is quite a bit of BNB to be circulated. So I wouldn't stress too much. You should be able to get in there, but if you're early, even better, right? So what I'd recommend is right on that Wednesday on the 10th, we'll in our Discord have like a little pre-sale party. We'll be live on various platforms, and then we'll get people to start getting on in the pre-sale right at that 5 p.m. UTC time period on the 10th. So you are very much welcome to get on in there, be a friend, tell the world. The more that we have in there, the more exciting that party will be, and the quicker that pre-sale will sell out.
Yeah, just to add on to that quickly, as well as a party, for the next 3 days in our Discord, today it may be just after, 10, 11 UTC. Some point tonight, we've got a very busy day, but for the next 3 days, we'll be doing trivia in our Discord. Very fun, general, just having fun, engaging with the community trivia. Last night, we gave away $1,000 in PTX. So for the next 3 days, and even on our pre-sale day, we'll be doing trivia throughout the day, having some fun, doing mass giveaways. So make sure you do jump in the Discord, hang about, engage with the community, and yeah, enjoy the fun. But I'll go straight into the next question to save some time. Many projects fail because they don't understand their target audience. This is from Sir Durrani. So I want to know, how's the ideal customer for your product? Do you consider community feedback / requests during the creation progress to expand and share new ideas for your project? Yes, 100%. Now, one of the biggest problems that we faced in these projects is that sometimes and not all the time, developers think they know best. And of course, we need you to be confident. We need them to be cocky in a sense, but there's been many times where I've seen a community member say, hey, there's a problem here, this is how we can fix it, and it be completely ignored, and that would, cause a major domino effect in the future. Now, at ProtocolX, we listen to everyone. ProtocolX wasn't just built by myself. ProtocolX wasn't just built by Neil. It was a team effort. We even had the help from some of our good friends, Boris, RA, good members of the community who gave us ideas week in, week out, and said, this is what we can do, this is how we can make it better. We throw back and forth ideas. So we've already, in the building process, had our community members help us, have them integrate their ideas into the token, have them give us feedback, because I'd rather someone be brutally honest with me and say, hey, Brandon, that's a rubbish idea, than go, hey, yeah, that's a great idea, go on with it, and it'd be a complete failure. So yes, we will be extremely focused, and that is one of our big points, to focus on the community engagement and making sure that feedback is heard.
6 questions answered so far. Just want to also remind the community, do ensure you join the ProtocolX Discord server immediately, because just like they've mentioned, there are quite a lot of exciting events and parties to look forward to.
I'm sorry.
So Neil, I think the stage is yours.
Yeah, I have a little bit of hard time hearing you. My hearing isn't perfect. So is there a place I could read that, or could you speak up just a little bit, please?
All right. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, I'll do my best. Full concentration.
All right.
That's right.
So
Yeah, just question 7.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
I'm
So
sorry.
select the next question.
Yeah, am I selecting one, or what are we doing here? I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it's you. We've got 3 more left. 4 more left.
Okay, perfect. Then I'll select one here. So just give me 1 second. Sorry, I was trying to kind of go through with that, listen to that as I could. So let me select one. Okay, so this is a pretty It's a pretty simple one here that I'll kind of go into just a little bit. So there's a lot of questions about the NFTs. So this is from Light with two T's. About the NFT aspect, the X share, you said you can earn from several means just by holding the NFTs. So what if one sells the NFTs? What about future earnings? Are they also transferred to the new buyer or the previous buyer? So this actually allows me to go into a couple different things that I haven't really gone into a ton just yet, which is great. So the NFTs are going to be basically closed. So you're not going to be able to sell them on like the open seas of the world or NFT trade. You can trade them from wallet to wallet. So if you do trade them from wallet to wallet, you'll have to trade them one at a time. You can use NFT Trader, you could use OpenSea, etc. You just cannot list them for sale on the open market. But let's say that you trade it from your one wallet to your friend's wallet or to another wallet that you own. Whomever owns that wallet on the blockchain, they're going to be the ones that are going to be obtaining and receiving that BUSD distribution at the respective periods of time. So if you send it out the day before that I send out the distribution aspect, then whomever owns that wallet that it's in at the time that the distributions go live are the one that'll be receiving that benefit there. So you can send it around, you just can't list it on the open markets. Maybe I'll introduce that once we hit our 20,000 cap, but I don't want that to be undercut and undersold in the short term. So we'll keep that in a closed system just in the beginning period of time.
Right. Thank you, Neil. So we have 3 more questions to go.
Yeah, brilliant. So I've got one here from Osgood. How can you help the token price? No, sorry. Same from Osgood, sorry. How will you burn tokens? So unlike a generic rebase token, we don't have burn mechanics directly in our buy and sell tax. What we have is a thing called PXBB. Now that is ProtocolX buy and burn. So a portion of every transaction, 2% of every transaction, will go to a burn wallet. Well, no, it will go to a hot wallet, which will then be used to buy and burn the tokens. Obviously, a percent of PTX will go to that wallet as well, so that will be burnt also, but the vast majority will be purchased and burnt. We'll be also, as we've touched base before, be using external revenue sources, such as the Ego bot, and using arbitrage bots between our exchanges and to generate income for it to be burnt. You'll also have the burn aspect from sacrificing PTX to get an X key and using the X key as such, and many, many more. We're constantly thinking of ways how we can burn tokens with there actually being value to the burn, if you know what I mean by that. So we don't want to just go, hey, here's some tokens in the treasury, let's burn them. We want to go, hey, we had to buy X amount of tokens, we've generated X amount of income, let's burn it.
Right. Thank you, Brandon. We have 2 more questions now.
All right, so this next one I'm going to take from Ruki, RUKY. Any other partnerships in the future? So I like this question here a lot. Currently, we have formally and publicly announced 3 official partnerships. One is with Ego, of course, which we've talked about quite extensively. One is with MDB, which if you're not aware of them, please check them out. They have a great operation going on over there. And another one is with Charity Token. So all 3 of those offer different benefits to us, but also mutual coordination and networking as we move forward. There's going to be 2 more official partners announced today throughout the day here. There are 2 bigger ones, very much so look forward to them. And there will be likely several more, not just this week, but moving forward. Once we develop these initial pre-stage, pre-sale partnerships, I'm going to put out some more information on our DEX, and we're going to get an official DEX partnership system lined up because there will be various requirements to partner with us to utilize our DEX. So yes, there will be partnerships in the future, and I very much look forward to going into each and every one there. We keep them all updated within our Discord. I have an official partners channel, so check that out anytime. Whenever we partner, I put their links up there. I put a brief description so that they could be easily identified and located from there.
Thank you. So we just have 1 more question.
Yep, I'll answer that now. So we'll end that off with... I see someone kept asking what is an AMA. I won't answer that one. How do you intend to gain the market and stay for a long period? That is from Teeth2505. So I've spoken a few times in the past on AMAs about our marketing methods and the way we're looking to grow. So the reason why we've done one of the sustainability parts, which is the SEM model, is for longevity. Now, what I mean by that is we have a real business model. We have an idea that we want to pitch to not only VCs, investors, blockchains, larger projects, and say, here's our idea, let's work together. But we also believe in networking. I think there's a lot of lost touch in the DeFi space. A lot of marketing comes from generic YouTube videos, comes from generic adverts and PooCoin ads and such like that. And there's not a lot of partnerships and not a lot of mutual growth agreements and not a lot of beneficial in real life networking. So our major plans over the next couple of the months are, if we have a successful pre-sale, of course, to attend expos, attend summits, attend investor meetings, meet with larger teams, meet with groups, and meet with investors, while also obviously doing the generic, marketing methods of the crypto world. But the way we strive to stay relevant, sort of thing, is by pre-planning our events. Now, we've already got we've got scenarios. So if we max out the pre-sale, we already know what giveaway we're doing on what day, what it's going to be, and how much for, what the event's going to be as such. So we're pre-planning all of these events, and we have everything lined up ready to go. And we're also having fallout options. So if something doesn't go to plan, we're having them as backup as well. So over the next couple of the months, I don't see us having any problems trying to grow because of the plans we have in place.
So this brings us to the end of the second part of our AMA. The third part, which is the quiz part, with regards to that, a quiz form will be dropped in the chat. So I urge all our community members to keep an eye on the chat for the quiz form so they can participate in the quiz. And Brandon and Neil, thank you very much for joining us here today for an AMA. As a wrap up, do you have any words or anything specifically you want to share with our community?
Yeah, just from myself, and then I'll let Neil close out. I just want to thank everyone for coming today. There's been a lot of people in the chat, over 100 people in the AMA. It's been a great AMA, a bit of a rocky start, but nonetheless, we pulled it out of the bag. I just want to say our pre-sale is on the 10th of August. I know, by all means, feel free to come to our Discord, have some fun, chill out, chat, play some trivia with us. We've got $1,000 poker tournament tomorrow with one of our partners, Monte Carlo. We're going to have thousands of dollars events throughout the week, and giveaways here such. So thank you for having us today. Check us out. If you have any more questions, we'll be about in our Discord. We have 3 more AMAs today, so we look forward to speaking to you all then.
Yep, and on my behalf, again, I just want to thank you all for coming out here. Again, my name is Neil, Shiplord over there. Hit us up on the socials. Please do join our Discord. Come ask questions. Bother us. I want you to be as engaged as possible. And just quick thank you again to everyone here at Satoshi Club for hosting this AMA, and I look forward to working with you guys as we kind of navigate through this week and beyond. So appreciate you all for coming out here and asking some great questions.
Thank you guys for being here with us today, and get ready for tomorrow's AMA and Telegram. I'm pretty sure it's going to be much more numerous than today's AMA and Discord. So just get ready for it. Just take some rest because you're going to speak even more than today. Thank you.
All right, have a great day, guys.
All right. Yeah, bye, everyone.